Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Ground Control to Major Nerds, our weekly podcast on aerospace and aerospace industry in general. Um, if you guys haven't listened to our first episode yet, we'll have it down in the links below in our description. Please make sure you do, and please make sure you do like, share, subscribe because we're just starting off and we would like to see all your support. And we are very thankful for your comments and your feedbacks that we got so far. It has been really motivating us to come back and do the second episode now. We have a really interesting episode today. We did promise last time that we were going to do an episode on the Axiom Aerospace launch, but unfortunately, the launch window got cancelled on the last day, I think. On May 20th, it got cancelled for the May 29th launch. Now, the predicted launch window is on June 8th. So once we get a confirmation of that launch window, we will try to schedule something for that episode. We have a lot to talk about that too. So it will
For all of the
come.
people who are uninformed, can you just briefly tell us why the launch window was cancelled and why was it postponed?
Yeah, sure. So the launch window was actually cancelled and postponed due to the weather conditions over here. We got some scattered thunderstorms over here, and also I think there was some last minute technical issues on the launch side due to the weather again, not due to any other reasons that may have been discussed, but it's usually due to weather. The Space Coast weather right now is kind of haywire. It's going volatile. It's kind of unpredictable until 2 days before launch. We cannot know what the weather conditions are. It's peak of the hurricane season over here in Florida, so uh, things are on a day-to-day basis where we get updates on if the launch is gonna be confirmed or not. So that's where it is. So yeah, once we get a launch window confirmation, we'll come back and do an episode on that. Also, as promised, we'll have some footage of the launch. We'll try to get some reactions on that from us, from all of us over here, and it would be great. So yeah, look forward for that too. And yeah, do like, share, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that we have when we are coming out with that. But before we go any further, let's introduce our constant co-hosts, Ashwini and Parvesh. So, Ashwini, you want to start off?
Hi, welcome back. Thank you for listening to episode 1. My name is Ashwini and still an aerospace engineer.
So, Ashwini, what's going on in your life for the last 1 week? Uh, I think you had the most eventful week. So, as much as you
Yes,
can reveal, what were you going through and what was happening?
if you read my the subtitle to my name, it says sunburnt and yet unconcerned. There is a reason for that. I'll do you one better. I will
Mhm.
tell you in rhyme what my last week was like.
Uh-huh.
So essentially, after 4 days in the sun, I was extremely tanned. My shoes were filled with mud, and my hair was filled with sand. We were at a trialing out our equipment, and it went much better than we had planned.
Uh-huh.
And I really hope that this pushes for indigenous manufacturing brands. And this was an army trial. This was for the armed forces. So I
Uh-huh.
saw a lot of drones, a lot of counter unmanned systems as well. The drones that I saw, there were a lot of drones. Some of them required a runway. Some of them required a catapult. Some of them could vertically take off and land. Some of them were larger than cars. Some of them were so small that they could be launched by hand. Uh, I learned a lot from this experience. It was a really good experience, showed a lot about the industry. And I believe that it's no longer the future, but the present that is unmanned.
Nice. Okay, that's something. So, how was your demo in general? Like, was it successful? Was it like average? Like, without revealing too
Oh,
much,
it
how can
was
you?
it was it was really good.
Okay.
Uh, we had planned to show equipment that would help out in certain stuff, and
Mhm.
it performed much better than we expected.
Okay.
So that is really positive news for us. And going forward, we really hope there's going to be further trials in different setups and different surroundings and different temperature and weather conditions. So we are hoping that it works out well. and we are definitely more confident than we were going in. We always knew that we had designed good equipment and it was working well, but we had never gotten the opportunity to test this in the exact sort of environment that is available to us, right? So great positive. I'm so happy for my entire team that has worked really hard on this. So
Nice.
yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. Okay, so moving on to Parvesh. How was your week, bro?
Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Parvesh, a business analyst, aerospace engineer, and the resident gaming and anime expert. So my week, I did nothing. I just did work, my regular schedule, couple of
Yeah.
client meetings,
Yeah,
little
we're
bit of
not as cool
finance
as
data.
Ashwini, I guess. So yeah.
Definitely not. But I
Do
did
it in
end up
rhyme.
No, we're not doing
rhyme. I'm
that.
not the singer
Nah,
here.
we are not doing that. Yeah. No. None of us have
But I
got
did
that
get a
talent.
chance to try. I tried a new game called Warhammer 3, which is really good.
Cool. Okay. Nice.
You should try it when you have the chance.
No. Anyways, uh, I'm
You like
joking. Yeah, we will try.
aerospace, but you don't want to deal with Warhammer. What is this?
Okay, fine. So yeah, me as well. Regular week. Nothing as exciting as Ashwini. So just waiting for him. Actually, that's been the week. We have been waiting for him to be available for this podcast and recording. He's been very busy, but also for the right reasons. It's his work. It's his schedule. It's been busy. So yeah. So that's been our week discussing what we should be doing next on this episode. So that was very fun. Now that the intros are out of the way, let's get into our episode today. So today we have a very exciting episode. We're going to talk about how to become an aerospace engineer or how to pursue your career in aerospace industry. So this is for me and a very important episode to talk about. And also, I think it would be a really great episode for a lot of people out there who are ambitious to, become aerospace engineers or pursue their careers in aerospace. And I feel like it is worth talking about from our perspectives. And yeah, so guys, what do you guys think about like your, first instincts of like starting off your career into aerospace? So where did you guys think you guys started off? Like Ashwini, you want to start off? Like how did you like start off with your aerospace journey? Like where did it all begin?
Yeah, sure. I mean, we could talk about it. It feels like uh, last time we talked about the why we decided to do this.
Uh-huh.
It only makes sense that we also talk about the how. A lot of people out there who possibly are in the situation right now of choosing careers, choosing their majors. So hopefully this is important to them. Hopefully they get some help out of this. To answer your question, I think it just starts off with interest. It is this. I will almost sort of take a slight deviation and tell you what I tell a lot of uh, graduates that come and talk to me, or interns who come and work with us at the company, or just in general people who are working with us who want to pursue a master's, or possibly even young students who have just come out of school. So the one thing that I tell them is, before you choose a major, you have to have an interest in it, right? uh, why it is important to have an interest in this is because, uh, especially in the case of your masters, for a lot of these students who will eventually go to pursue a masters, you are not doing your masters from the same city that you live in. You are eventually going to move out and move to a different location, and in a lot of cases you'll move abroad probably, and go to a different country, do go to a different time zone. So what happens is, there is going to be one day in your life during your master's program when you are not feeling well. It's not been the best of days. Your dishes are not done. Your roommate is being a uh, your professors are not conceding and giving you all of the homework that they can. Your house is filthy. Nobody's cooked anything for you. It's all in all the worst day possible. On that day, you should still have the energy you should still have the desire, you should still have the interest to pursue your subject. On that day, you cannot quit, right? So it is very important that you ask yourself this question: is this major really for me? Is this scope really for me? Is this field really for me? Right? Now, how do you answer that question as someone who's, say, 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, even as a 22-year-old? How do you know that this is the major you want to, this is the field that you want to pursue? For me, uh, I almost had choices where I had gone to a professional counselor after my 10th. Uh, Sorry, after my 12th. After my 10th, I definitely wanted to do science because I've always had an interest in science. I did not want to pursue the arts sort of stream. But after 12th, I had gone to a professional counselor to just tell me what should I do with my life, because I had an interest in multiple things. And after sitting with a counselor, I was more confused because she basically told me, "Oh, you're good at these things, these skills, and so you can choose a bunch of stuff, and you will be quite good at them." But then I spoke to a mentor, and she told me that actually it's not what you're good at. It's very important what are you happy with, and whatever you're happy with is something that will serve you when you're not feeling good, when you're not feeling well. It will still give you some sort of satisfaction on those worst days possible, right? So think about what do you like to do. And then when I spoke about this last episode as well, I thought about things I used to like doing. A major part of it was making stuff and building projects and doing DIY stuff. So I always thought that engineering would be something that I would be really good at, and at the same time, I would also really enjoy doing it, which is why I decided to do mechanical engineering. I chose to do mechanical even though I had an option for aerospace. There's a very big reason for that. One, if I did want to work in the aerospace industry in India, at that time, a lot of it was still under the government, and a lot of opportunities were with ISRO. And at ISRO, it is a very clear rule that your undergrad has to be in mechanical so that you can give the written exams even today. So check this out. I'm not sure if they've amended the rules yet. So if you do want to have a career at ISRO, you still want to do your undergrad in mechanical. It is the sort of base. Sorry, you were saying something?
Yeah, no, just wanted to ask you. So, where did you do your mechanical engineering? And
Right. This
yeah,
was in Mumbai, under the University of Mumbai, at the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Technology.
nice.
Uh, After I finished my graduation in 2012, by 2010, I was quite
Before
sorry.
that, before that, sorry, yeah. So, where? So, how did you get in? Like, what did you do to get in to the mechanical engineering at Rajiv Gandhi Institute?
At that time, we had to all give entrance exams.
Okay.
I had given the Maharashtra CET exam,
Okay.
and through that, you were given a list of colleges that you could apply to and get
Okay.
admitted into.
Mhm.
So yeah, I got in through
So
that.
you did not like have any preference of like colleges in particular for yourself. Like you just wanted to get a good college that you
I
could do
had
mechanical
given
engineering.
all the entrance exams. I had
Okay.
given the JEE. I had given the AIEEE
Mhm.
exam.
Mhm.
At that time, there was also an entrance exam for the BITS group
Yep.
of schools.
Mhm.
So I'd given all of those.
Okay.
I had fared decently, but not decent enough to get my choice of engineering, which was
Got it.
mechanical.
That's the critical
I
part.
was
Yeah.
I was very confident and very sure that I wanted to do mechanical engineering.
Got it. Got it.
So then through my CET, I'd even in fact given the AIEEE architecture exam
Mhm.
because part of me was really interested in doing architecture. And I had got, and I had done actually quite well. I was getting into the best architecture college, but I always wanted to do mechanical engineering. And so eventually I did get into the mechanical engineering college in Mumbai itself, which was great because I get to stay at home now,
Mhm.
which was really nice at the time. And then after that, by the end of my second year, I was very confident that I wanted to do a master's in aerospace because I did an internship. So I also tell all of youngsters these days that in your summer vacations, go do an internship, because doing an internship is a very important part of understanding what eventually you will what eventually will be your working life look like. So that is also a very important thing. I had done internships at uh, a steel making plant. I had done an internship at an automobile manufacturing company, but my favorite internship was the internship I did at Air India at Mumbai Airport. This was in the major maintenance division, and I got to work on the Airbus fleet of airplanes. I was part of the major maintenance division there, and I used to work on the overhaul, understanding the systems. I was under an engineer who briefed me on what the systems were like, gave me a lot of really good material to study, and that is when I was like, this is really cool, and I want to do this. I can see myself doing something in this
So,
field.
so that was your igniting moment of getting into aerospace then.
Probably formalizing it. Before that, it was more like, so I have an elder brother who wanted to become a pilot for the longest time of times. We used to watch a lot of air crash investigation together. It was fascinating to us. And I also used to study in the school where my mother was a teacher. My school used to get over an hour before her school work used to get done. So for an hour, I used to just sit in the library. And my favorite thing to do was browse through these books that taught you how to make paper planes. And I used to
Nice.
love making paper planes and launching them out of my window all the time. So I should have probably connected the dots much earlier. But this internship really sort of formalized that my interest, that I wanted to do a master's in aerospace. And I think I spoke about this the last time. My final year project as an undergrad student was the design and fabrication of a drone. Uh, so again, another thing I talk about with younger students today is, what is your final year project? Don't just do a project for the sake of doing it. Do something that actually interests you, and it gives you the time. It gives you the time to explore opportunities and actually do hands-on stuff, which will take you towards doing something that you want to do, right? And so I felt like the project that I did on making a drone, that was also a great sort of guide for me, that okay, doing a master's in aerospace is something that really interests me. And another thing, maybe I'm giving you a little bit too much here, but another reason of doing masters, don't go with the intention that you want to get another degree so that you can get more money. When it comes to a master's, it is very important that you do it for the love of the subject. You will not, uh, you'll probably do well, but you will not uh, be happy. I guess that's the easiest way to say this. You will not be the happiest if you're doing this with the wrong intentions. I wouldn't even say it's the wrong intentions. Earning money is good, it's great, but do it for the love of the
Misplaced.
subject. Yeah,
Yeah.
displaced, right? That's the right word. Do it for the love of the subject, because if you do that, then like I mentioned, on your worst day, you will still want to get up, you will still want to study, you will still want to go to your college and attend your lectures, do all of the work. It is quite demanding. So yeah, doing it for
So,
the right reasons helps.
so how did that transition happen? Like, how did you get to, like, choose that it's gonna be USA for your masters, or why not some other place, some other country, or some other university in the world? Why, or why not in India
I
itself?
Right. So after I'd done my bachelor's, I did apply to a bunch of master's programs in India. The truth is, I was not good enough to get selected into these programs, because these programs are highly competitive, and there are a bunch of very good students who apply for these programs. And honestly, I couldn't get into it. I had given an exam called GATE, and again, I'd done decent enough that I was getting into some place with
Mhm.
some engineering, but it wasn't aerospace, and it wasn't my choice. Right. So I decided then, again, I want to do aerospace. For me, the subject was more important than where I do this. So I decided that it is probably a good idea to go abroad and study there. And at that time, the US was still supposed to be the best place for amateur aviation, the best place to study, aerospace. I'm not sure if that is the case right now. Uh, that is something that students doing their research right now will be more aware of. Uh, at the time, I had decided to apply to the US. I'd also applied to Canada, and I had applied to Singapore. There are two universities in Singapore that have excellent programs. One is the National University of Singapore, and the other one is Nanyang Technology University. I think that is what its name is. So I'd applied to those two places. I'd applied to McGill in Canada, and I'd applied to a few good universities in the US, including Embry Riddle. So I did get into McGill in Canada, and I got into Embry Riddle as well. The deciding factor was purely down to weather. This was a conversation I very seriously had with my family, and I said Mumbai weather and Florida weather is very similar. I will not survive the cold in Canada, so I'll just move to Florida and do my masters there. So yeah, that's how I ended up at Embry Riddle.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, so at Riddle then, like, what was your path that you took? Because we all went to Riddle, we know how the structure of the school is, the School of Aerospace and aviation over there. So what made you choose what you chose, like as your path for your masters and your thesis and everything?
So again, the options offered to us at the time, and I believe that these are pretty much the three big sort of blocks that you can divide aerospace into. One was structural design, that had all of the theory and practical to do with structures, a lot of finite element method, design analysis, and all of that. Then there was propulsion, which had a lot of engine design, calculations. That is what Parvesh went into. And then the third branch, which is what I chose, was guidance, navigation, and control. This was to do with designing of airplanes, keeping in mind what their eventual goal in guidance and navigation and control of said design would be, and also getting into the coding side of things, where you are designing systems and algorithms that guide uh, anything that's aerial autonomously, semi autonomously, or manually. So that was very interesting to me. Again, because I had worked with drones and RC flying models previously. And before that, I already had a lot of experience in design. And I wanted to continue with design, but still, I found this entirely new field really interesting. And I knew nothing about it. I'll be very honest with you. The one thing that I realized was that I was not prepared for the step up that took place when I started attending my classes for my master's program. In fact, even with the admission process, what I was told was that I would have to do a few prerequisite courses, which were of an undergraduate level, so that I could be up to speed with the master's program. And a lot of that had to do with learning how to use software like MATLAB and Simulink. Uh, at the time when I was doing my undergrad, MATLAB and Simulink was something that was not part of the syllabus, not part of the curriculum. This is also something that I tell students now. Uh, while you're doing your studies, also take an interest in learning software like SolidWorks and CATIA. If you're doing designing, please do learn Python. Please do learn uh, MATLAB, SolidWorks, LabVIEW. These are all software that will really help you in further studies, and it will also help you in your professional life.
I would actually also start taking courses on AI ML, like try to understand the new age prompts that are required, because the whole technology is shifting towards AI as well. In terms of getting your scripts ready, in terms of getting your designs validated by these AI tools that are coming up. So that's a new thing which we did not have to go through, but the new age engineering is going towards. So yeah, just to add that.
Right. And even existing software, like I mentioned, SolidWorks, there's a new software called Fusion 360. These are all using artificial intelligence and machine learning to make more efficient designs. Right. And similarly, I'm pretty sure that MATLAB and Simulink will also have some elements of AI and ML into it. Coding languages are now getting an option of AI ML into it. So I agree. If there are any professionals working in the industry right now, this goes to you as well. Start working with AI and ML, because eventually this already is part of our lives. So that's true. What you're saying is absolutely right. For me, when I started my coursework for masters, like I said, I did a few prerequisite courses to just get up to speed with the curriculum at Riddle, and I simultaneously just started doing a lot of self study when it came to all of these software. I must say that the faculty was really helpful. I remember just spending all of the professors' official time when they can meet students. I used to spend all of it just asking the most basic and the stupidest of questions, but they were very patient with me, and they really helped me understand what software was like, how to code basic stuff, and that is then surely out of practice and repeatedly doing this, I was able to understand how to actually use this software and make uh, auto navigation systems and get to the curriculum of aerospace.
Thank you for that insight, Ashwini. So that was a great like insight into how you got to do those things through your academics. So I'll move along to Parvesh. So Parvesh, what was your journey like? So where did you start off? How did you decide to be into aerospace, get into aerospace, and maybe pursue this career that you have right now?
So I briefly mentioned it in the previous episode. Watch that episode. And in that episode, I had said, for me, I loved physics. I absolutely loved physics. I always competed with all my classmates only in physics. Everything else, any, I didn't care about much. But physics, I was always on competition with everyone. So from there, once I moved into a college, but one thing is here in Tamil Nadu, you don't need to write any entrance exam. They had removed it prior to me going to college. So it was purely based on 12th marks. Fortunately, I did pretty well. So I ended up at Anna University, the College of Engineering, India. There, I had taken mechanical. So um, I felt like as long as I have like a base with uh, jack of all trades kind of start, I thought I can just, in case I wanted to do aerospace or if I want to do anything, I can just pick from there. So I took mechanical engineering, and in mechanical engineering, you get a choice of taking electives. That's one of the reasons I didn't need to do any prereqs like Ashwini had, where my electives were all based in aerospace. So I had taken gas turbines, jet engines, propulsion, and I believe composite materials. I'm not sure. So those were my electives. So when I went into a riddle, I didn't need to worry about prereqs. You want to say
Okay.
something?
Yeah. So like, how did you get to choose Riddle?
Huh. So I wrote GRE and IELTS. I wanted to study abroad. There was no question. I didn't try for campus placements. I didn't try to even write the exams here because I had a lot of relatives in the US. So I wanted to experience life outside of India. Generally, this is really good for like exposure, getting to learn another culture. I like being a little adventurous to some extent. So I wanted to learn other, like how people live somewhere else, like how it is to meet other people from other countries. Because I was born and brought up here in Chennai all my life. So I wanted to go out and see how the outside world was. So one thing I suggest is if you guys want to go to students or whoever, if you have the means, give it a shot, go outside the country, learn about other cultures, how other people live. Things like that is always useful. You get a new perspective and you can always understand like how other people live in your country or wherever you are. usually see a wide variety of people. Generally, S- maybe you live in like New York or something, you see everyone. But if you're in like a conservative city or something like that, you don't see many different kinds of people. So you get a new outlook on life. You'll change some opinions you have. You'll think about new things. So I had gone to the US and I had a few choices. When I wrote GRE and IELTS, I had sent my scores out to like a bunch of universities across the US, mostly to where my relatives are, so that I can go stay with them. So I got into Texas and Riddle and maybe Georgia as well, Arlington. Yeah, and I think even Georgia, but I chose Riddle because again, it's the closest weather to Chennai. It's like
So you both were already in sync about the weather situation. So you guys wanted the weather to be one of the priorities.
we were in sync before leaving. Like we were on the Riddle Facebook group finding roommates. We
Nice.
we found each other, and then I was like, dude, well, I'll reach like 2 days before you. No,
Nice.
I think I reached like a week before you. No, just 2 days before you.
2 days.
Yeah. I was like, I'll reach 2 days before you. I'll keep stuff ready.
That's how you chose Riddle. So how was your
Correct.
journey in Riddle?
In Riddle, I had chosen combustion and propulsion because that's what I had the most interest in. Um, I loved hypersonics and jet propulsion. Those were my favorite topics. So once I did that, um, yeah, it was pretty normal. Not much in terms of thing. In like Ashwini had mentioned briefly, I didn't know MATLAB when I went. So that was completely new. I had to learn it from scratch. I was lucky in a sense where the one of the first subjects we took was it was what was it? I believe it was approximations, and it was like a math subject. So there I learned the basics. Like you just needed the basics of MATLAB, so I passed through with that. Apart from that, I'd also like to add on. Ashwini had mentioned a bunch of softwares to learn. I remember in our labs, a lot of people are using Fortran as well. So if you're thinking of aerospace, maybe consider Fortran. I don't know if they still use it, but no.
Ada and Fortran are thankfully getting extinct, but they're still there. So if you like end up in a workforce which is sustaining older technology, yes, that's still there.
So after that, I ended up in Miami. I was working for an MRO.
Before we go there, I think I just wanted
Then,
to like quickly wrap up on that academic side of things. So how did you graduate? Like did you choose the thesis path or did you choose
yeah.
the
So in Riddle, we have an option of taking the non-thesis path, which I took because I didn't want to do a thesis. I didn't want to get stuck. I didn't want to get stuck.
so you heard
I knew,
what okay. So was
I
it the
knew
horror
from our
stories?
seniors.
Okay, got it.
No,
Got it.
we had a few seniors who were like, "Oh, I've been doing my thesis for the past 2 years, 3 years." I was like, "You know what? No thesis. I'm good without thesis."
Got it.
So
Got it.
then, but we did need to do special topics, which was like
700 level course, yeah.
a mini thesis. Yeah, it was a mini thesis where you just need to do like one experiment and provide your insights. So I did that.
Okay. Cool. All right. So for me, I was always passionate about aerospace. As I said in the last episode, from my eighth grade. So something interesting happened in my eighth grade actually. APJ Abdul Kalam was the president at that time, and I think actually
Something to
with
add.
okay
Abdul Kalam was a visiting faculty in my college.
at Gindi.
Yeah, at Gindi. That was
Nice.
also one of the inspirations we had for taking aerospace. A lot of people would take it just because we wanted to meet him.
Yeah. So yeah, that's great. So for our viewers who are not from India, so APJ Abdul Kalam was our president uh, back in 2003. Basically, APJ Abdul Kalam was the rocket scientist of India. He did many major projects. Our first nuclear test, he was part of it, and also he has done like a lot of you know inventions with DRDO and also a lot of engineering projects with ISRO. And he was our president from 2000 to like 2007. So yeah, and he was an inspiration for all of us who were aspiring for science and technology in general. So while during his tenure, he used to visit schools because he wanted to connect with students and younger generation. And he happened to come to my school uh, to visit. And uh, the way he spoke about space, the way he spoke about uh, rocket science, the way he spoke about aerospace and aviation and the need of aviation, it was just inspiring for me. And from that moment on, I was latched onto this field. I was very inspired with this aerospace industry and wanted to do something in this field, like that was my focus. uh, but my academics were not strong. So I had to do a lot of hard work to get to the point where I could be accepted in one of the good colleges to do and pursue my aerospace career. So right after my high school, I did give all the entrance exams like Ashwini was talking about, the Maharashtra CET, the IEEEs, the JEE, the BITS Pilani, BITS Goa, the BITS exams, entrance exams. And I had an inspiring story from my dad that he once visited IISc Bangalore. So he saw that facility and he always kept saying that it was one of the best colleges for space and aerospace degrees. So I was always like inspired by those talks growing up. So once I gave my entrance exams, I saw myself not getting the colleges that I wanted to get. And I was very fortunate that I was getting accepted in UK, in multiple colleges in UK with my academics and with my IELTS scores and everything. So my parents supported me to move to the UK to do my undergrad. So I chose University of Hertfordshire to do my aerospace engineering. And that's where my journey for aerospace started. At Hertfordshire, I did not know this, but once I went there, I got to know that Hertfordshire was the place where they did design the first jet propulsion engine during the World War, or before the World War, actually. So that was like inspiring to do more in that field too. So I started off exploring like the propulsion side of aerospace too. But I think the way I started off aerospace, the way I started off going through the courses, I just realized that I was not just interested in propulsion, but I was also interested in flight controls. I was also interested in like the avionics side, the radios, everything. So that's when I think one of my advisors suggested that I should look into systems engineering. And in my second year of aerospace, I got involved with systems engineering. And from that moment on, I was latched onto that path that I wanted to do aerospace systems engineering. So once I graduated from Riddle, uh, I was like uh, looking out to do my grad school. Uh, I did not want to do it in the UK because of the economy back then, and also the job opportunities in the UK. Being a non-UK citizen, non-British, citizen. So I think US would be the next destination to go to, and I always knew about Embry Riddle because of my other fellow students who were always like dreaming about going to Riddle. So I also researched about them, and I always wanted to see if I could make it to Riddle. And my roommates actually chose to go to Wichita because they wanted to go and do their masters at Wichita State, since they were more inclined with the structure side of things, and I was more inclined towards the system side of things. So for me, I think I chose to go to Riddle because of that. And I had to do only a GRE And since I was already having a British degree, it was very easy for me to transition into Riddle through my grades and through my you know the degree. So once I got to Riddle, I decided that I would not do aerospace, but I would do electrical and computer. And the reason why is because for being a systems engineer, you need to have a strong background in electrical and computer engineering. So I chose that. Um, so that was, I think, one of the toughest decisions. I mean, I think not the toughest decision. It was easier decision, but I think the toughest journey of my academic life, coming from a mechanical background, doing electrical and computer engineering. So if you're choosing that, like, you got to be very careful. Got to understand what courses you're gonna be facing, and what kind of background you need to have, and what kind of like preparations you need to have to do that master's degree. So just putting it out there, I did not know it. I went head in to that to that course, and it was, every semester was a nightmare for me at Riddle. While others might be like, feeling it not that difficult, for me Riddle was very difficult since I was coming from the mechanical background. So
Did you
yeah.
need to do prereqs?
No, I did not need to do prereqs. That was the interesting part, because they saw my undergrad. They saw that I was doing systems engineering courses. So back at Hertfordshire, the systems engineering course was very diversified once you chose the systems path, because you do a lot of like MATLAB courses. You do a lot of like, logic gate courses, the circuits 101 courses, and all those things. So that kind of like helped me avoid prerequisites that Ashwini had to do, for example. For me, I did not. But I think it would have been better if I did prerequisites, because that would have given me a much more foundational strength to go into the 500 and 600 level courses. That is the master structure over here. But I did not. So I have a good story for Riddle. For my first semester, my advisor actually like told me like, "Oh, you're coming from a mechanical background. You should take mechatronics." And I was like, "Okay, I will choose mechatronics." And I chose mechatronics, and I failed. So if you're a foreign national coming to do like a degree in the US, and if you're doing a master's, you're not allowed to have any grade less than a B. And my first semester was an F, because I did not have the background to do code designs, or to do like, masters is a different ball game. You have to produce project, or you have to produce outcomes like which could be used directly into the industry. And that mechatronics course was us directly working with the industry in my first semester itself, and that was a challenge. So that did not go well, and I had an F in my first semester itself. So yeah, so I had to work through that. I had to go through the dean and understand what would be my options to continue on without getting removed from the program, and work through that. And from there on, I think I had to like struggle through, because to convert that F from a C, I had to spend the whole summer in the lab, and work on the project and finish it off for the professor that actually brought in that project. So
But
yeah.
didn't you need to take the course again?
No, you don't. So if you can negotiate with your professors to like continue working on it and finishing off the project, and if he's accepting that results, you can convert that F to a C and move on. So yeah. But that
Just to
one,
clarify, you had said that you minimum need a B or a minimum C.
sorry,
You can
minimum C.
balance
So
the
you can have
C.
two C's, but you should have mostly all B's. So you can only get two C's in all your credits of your 30 credits. You can
Your
only have
average
two
should be
C's.
a B.
Yeah, your average
So
should be a B. That's the
if you
right
get
way
a
to say it.
C, you can get an S later to convert that C into a B. It needs to average out. So I had a C in compressible flow, but in renewable energy, I had an S. So it brought my average up. That's how I graduated.
Yeah.
When, when were there S's in master courses? I think
It
you're
was.
confusing your anime gameplay with co- coursework. The
Dude,
highest you can get
was
is
it
an
S?
A.
Yeah, I never
Oh,
heard an
okay,
S.
You're
an A.
thinking of a perfect score on Dragon Ball Z Bodoku
Too much
Tenkaichi 3.
gaming. Too much gaming. Too
Yes.
much gaming.
Yeah, I
The
think so.
highest
Actually,
That's
grade
what's
you could
happening.
get
no.
is an A, not an S.
Yeah.
That's
In
only
Anna
on fighting
University,
games.
in Anna University, S
Okay.
is the highest you can get.
That's where you're
That's
getting
where the
confused.
confusion.
Yeah, that's where the
Ah,
confusion is. Okay. Now it makes sense. But yeah, the
Yeah.
highest grade, the grading system is
Is
from
an A.
A to
Yeah.
an F. So uh a D is definitely not even existent in a master's program because you can
Yeah.
get a
A, B,
worst as
C,
a
F.
C. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, so Riddle was gruesome for me. It was it was painful, but I think it was the best thing that happened because that gave me the stubbornness to continue in this field because I think that's what you need to be in aerospace. I think you need some stubbornness, you need some grit, you need some continuity. You can't give up. Like if you want to give up, then you will not survive in the industry too because the industry is also gruesome. So yeah, so that was my takeaway. That was my preparation into getting into the
no,
industry.
but then wait, were you not also working at a lab while you were studying?
So as you were talking about before, like you need to have internships, you need to have experience while you're academically pursuing your courses. I was very fortunate that Riddle had Florida Next Gen test bed, which was an FAA approved test bed, and that's where I used to work. So while I was studying, that was my source of kind of pocket money and income, which was trying to be a research assistant at the Florida Next Gen test bed and trying to help the FAA set up labs and test beds for do it for their next gen national airspace systems upgrades that they were trying to do back in the day, which was for the ADS-B in, for the satellite based navigation systems, and also the ground surveillance systems for the airports. So I used to work there. So that's where I used to do those and then do my courseworks and get through the the program. So yeah. So
Which is
yeah,
legal,
which is legal.
by the way.
Yes, you can work 20 hours a week as long as you're working for your university. You cannot work outside in the US. Whereas in the UK, I had a different experience. So that was another thing during academics. There was a lot of cultural shock. I think for Ashwini and Parvesh, the cultural shock might be coming from an Indian academic system into a US academic system. For me, the cultural shock was coming from a UK academic system to a US academic system for, your undergrad and grad. So for me in the UK, I was allowed to work outside of the university as well while doing my courses. So I was like not worried about my extra income that I might need to sustain myself. Whereas in the US, you cannot do that. So those are the few things you need to also discuss and decide how you're going to do it. And in terms of academics, again, like in the UK, the plagiarism rules and the the way you write your documentation, the way you present yourself in a presentation setup, and the way you do your courseworks is completely different from the US. The US is, I think, a bit of a like a freedom in a way of how you get your answers and how you present your answers, whereas in the UK you have a very strict guidelines. Every university has its own guidelines how you present your data to get credit for your work. So that's how it was for me, the cultural shock, basically. Like, oh, over here you can just do a pen and paper write up and scan it and submit it as a coursework and you're good. Whereas in the UK you cannot do that. You have to have official formats in Word. Even for a math problem, you need to have an official format in Word to submit that. So that was a huge difference. So all right. So after all the sleepless nights to get to the through to the graduations and also like going through gruesome, you know, thesis projects, capstone projects and everything, once you were graduated, what was your experiences like? So getting into the industry, getting into the workforce. So how was that? L- Let's start off with Parvesh first.
So, work-wise, it was really difficult to find something in America because there was always this issue in the background where you go apply. At some point, they'll say, "Hey, no, you can't work here because you don't have security clearance. You're not a citizen." So that was a constant thing I had to deal with. So I ended up at Miami at an MRO, which they used to pick up engines that still had some life in it, fit it up with other parts, basically overhaul engines and sell them again or rent them out. At the same time, they also did a bunch of repair as well. Yeah, I mean, namesake MRO. So that was my first job where I did luckily there, the VP was also a Riddle student, which is how I got in so easily.
Riddle network is strong.
Yeah, he looked at my resume. He's like, "Oh, you're also a Riddle student. You know what? We have some jobs for you." And so I got in. The majority of my work was helping with technical publications for the guys on the shop floor. I did a little bit because it was a smaller company, you get a chance to do things like inventory, finance. There was a chance for me to do engineering work. I did a little bit of drawing.
Just for the listeners, I don't know if you mentioned, but what is an MRO?
It's a maintenance, repair, overhaul company. So aircraft engines come in, they do maintenance for it, like maybe some part has failed, they take it out, put a new part in. They do repairs in case something has broken down. And overhaul basically means there's multiple engines and you're ripping it apart fully and putting parts that work. I also did calibrations for the company. So the mechanics on the shop floor end up using multiple tools. So we had to do calibration to make sure that it's up to spec every single time. So this is some of the things that I didn't know about in the industry, that the tools need to be calibrated, that they use technical publications that come straight from the aircraft manufacturers. Um, so they usually give us like a set of instructions on how to disassemble the parts, the engine, what you should do um, if something is broken. They also have things like serviceable limits, repairable limits. I believe they need to be certified by the FAA as well, right?
Yes. Every time you change
Yeah.
anything on an aircraft.
Yeah. So they have things like airworthiness directives. So on the whole, it was like completely new to me. I got a chance to learn a lot of things. It was a lot of fun.
Got it.
If you
Okay.
get a chance to work in a small company, you should maybe take it, at least earlier in your career.
Workplace have any ITAR regulations?
No ITAR,
Okay.
just FAA.
For those who don't know, like ITAR is basically like international traffic and arms and regulations. So arms regulations, sorry, and that's a very big factor for non-US citizens to work in certain projects. If you're not ITAR cleared, you cannot work in projects which are actually requiring ITAR clearance. Or in most cases, they won't even try to get non-US citizens in those projects. They would rather, try to get the work done without non-US citizens. So that's a big factor. That's why that's one of the things as an international student when you graduate from Riddle, your options dwindle down to a few companies because of ITAR basically. So that's why I wanted to bring that up and ask him if was it like ITAR regulated? Did you have to go through any kind of ITAR training? Have to avoid certain projects because of ITAR? Okay, so
That's
cool.
why I
So
got in so easily.
okay, so that's why I think Parvesh is recommending try to start off from somewhere which is a small place, small company, an MRO or a service center, which would give you enormous knowledge into like replacing, repairing, and overhauling of parts, and then you get into the bigger pictures.
Yeah, and you get to learn like the basics, right? You know, like how a turbine works, how small the blades are,
Mhm.
how big the blades are, how they're inspecting each part, what a borescope is. I didn't even know what a borescope was.
What is a boroscope?
Okay, so there's like these tiny holes on an engine.
Mhm.
They put this camera inside and you can see the inside.
Wow,
It's
that's
really
a
cool.
boroscope. So just to see like if there's any fatigue or any kind of like structural
It's for
damage.
like yeah, if you want to see like scratches on the blades or if there's like debris, things like that, without having to remove the engine completely.
Nice, very interesting. Okay, so how did you end up in your current role now?
At some point my visa expired. I didn't feel like getting a work permit. I was on an F1 visa. I was on a student visa. So back then we had a chance of working as an internship. It was full time, but it was an internship for up to 3 years
Okay.
if you were on a STEM degree. 1 year is the actual internship, and then you can extend it for 2 more years. That's how it was for me back then. I finished that. My visa expired, so I did some traveling and then came back.
So you did not go for the H1B path forward.
I
Cool.
didn't want to stay there. I
Okay.
wanted to come back.
Mhm.
I came back. I applied. I took like a year break. Honestly, it depends on your economic um, like situation. But I had the privilege of like taking a year off, and then I started working for my current company.
Okay. Got it. Which is again an like MRO based.
It's not an MRO, service-based company that works for a Canadian company.
So how much did the academics help you with this current role or throughout your, work life?
I'd say more than academics, the work I did in the MRO helped a lot
Okay.
because I had known exactly like what repair needed to be done on those parts. I knew how those parts looked physically, like if it was in my hand. Because working from India, they don't send you the parts; they'll send you pictures of the parts and the blueprints. So you need to imagine that part in your hand or next to you so that you can look at the defect, see what will happen if it's next to another part. So all of that I knew from the MRO work. So which is why I think MRO working at MRO is like really good to start off with aviation.
So the actual practical work experience after your academics helped you more to
A
realize
lot more, yeah. I mean, obviously I needed the basics what I learned
in academics, yeah.
in academics, but like once you get your hands dirty, that's when everything falls into place. Like theoretically stuff is there, but once you see it happen in front of you, everything falls into place.
Got it. Got it. Understood. That's cool. So yeah, let's uh let's move on to Ashwini. So what do you think, Ashwini? Like how was your experience after academics? What what were the things that you had to go through to get to your position right now?
So I think my experience was quite different from what Parvesh's experience was, and it is probably because I always pictured myself working in R&D. So going abroad and studying where I did study, I knew going in on day one that I would not be working in the US, because majority of the work at that time, and I think even today in my field, has to come with a defense clearance. And as an international student, you're just not going to get that, right? So I knew very early on that uh, I wanted to come back, and I wanted to work in India. I wanted to stay with my family, and possibly work at a place where I would get to stay at home and be with my family, and also be able to work in an industry that I really like. So that was one big factor. And at the same time also, uh, the choice that you mentioned about choosing a thesis or a non-thesis, I wanted to go and do a thesis program because uh, the entire process of uh, writing a thesis, going through the literature survey, going through the formats of R&D, going through the various testing phases, writing what you want to achieve as a goal, this is all something that comes handy if you want to do an R&D job. So I wanted to experience that, and I wanted to learn how to do that. So eventually I moved back to India, and unfortunately when I moved back, that is exactly when COVID happened. So I had a bunch of interviews lined up with places that were doing R&D, but unfortunately aviation and aerospace was one of the worst hit industries because of COVID. So for a while I wasn't working in the industry, and eventually, when the situation became better, I did start applying again. One of the things that really helped me was this entire push towards R&D and indigenization in India. And this entire field of drone technology, which really picked up since the 2020s, the foundations of it were sort of 2015 onwards. But as an industry, it really picked up in 2020. And I happened to attend the inaugural Drone Festival of India, which was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister. And there was a lot of showcasing of startups and big industry at this huge festival, which was for 3 days. And there was a lot of very interesting project work shown at this place, a lot of really uh, cool products in the drone and counter drone field were all displayed. And this sort of opened my eyes to uh, this whole field that required a lot of people, and it required R&D, and it required skills that I had learned while doing my masters. So I knew that this is somewhere I could thrive, and this is somewhere where I could definitely do well. And in fact, the job that I'm currently working at, I had met the founders of the company at that Drone Festival of India, and through that, through communication with them, and after a bunch of successful interviews, I was able to land a job there. So this is also something that I tell uh, students, interns, fresh graduates, that I don't know if this is the case outside India, but definitely in India, there is a lot of programs like these that happen regularly. The Aeronautical Society of India allows students to become members. It allows professional people, like I am a member of the Aeronautical Society of India. It allows you to get membership, and they have a number of outreach programs for students in school and colleges, where they tell you what the aerospace field is like. And then they have programs where companies are invited, and they display their products, they tell you about what it is like to work in the aerospace industry. Apart from this, there are also programs and events, and these happen regularly, especially if you are living in New Delhi or in Mumbai. uh, but I believe that even the other cities regularly now have programs where uh, drone, counter drone products are regularly shown. Companies come in and do events, and they showcase their products, and
For the
they,
civilians?
for the civilians, usually
Right.
this is open to industry on the first day, and then it is open to civilians on days 2 and 3. So you can get access into these. Tickets are very cheap, and most cases it is free, and you can enter and you can have a look. You can talk to the people there. It is very important for anyone who wants to get into this field, and not just this field, any field, that you have an idea of what future you is going to be looking like, right? So I remember at the inaugural Drone Festival of India, I had the opportunity to talk to a very senior member of a huge industrial giant in this field. And he had been working in this industry for the last 15 years. And I had the opportunity to sit down and talk to him and understand what is required of me to get into this field and to succeed in this field. And I am still using tips and tricks given to me by him till day. And I believe that this is important, that we are able to find mentors, we are able to find role models, we are able to look at a picture of what our lives would be if we get into this field 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. And that helps a lot. If you're not able to attend such events, if there is a reason, for example, these events are not happening anywhere close to your city, a great other option is to use social media. You can always get into LinkedIn and start looking at profiles of people, or you just look at positions. One thing I did was I looked at uh, lead engineers. Who were lead engineers? What were they doing? uh, what was the lead engineer at Airbus doing? What was his or her background?
I have to step in over here and say LinkedIn stalking is not bad. You can do that. You can understand, like, what roles you look like to you want to be tomorrow. Like, I have done it. Like, if I want to be a system architect, I would look at who are the system architects who are currently working in the industry and maybe follow that same path, like maybe follow their trajectory. And there's nothing wrong with it because aerospace is such a small industry. You never know how you're going to meet somebody and also get mentorship from them. And also, maybe by following that path, you may actually succeed and become that one day. So, yeah, LinkedIn stalking is perfectly good thing to do. At least being a foreign national or international student or a non-US citizen working in this industry, that helps enormously. If you see another non-US citizen actually successful in their field, uh, you should definitely reach out, and do your due diligence to know what is the right steps to do. So yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it stalking. Just get in touch with them. I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn, and I try my best to reply to all of them and give them a picture. And I try to make it as honest and accurate as possible. And I just tell them what are they interested in, what do they want to do, what I found difficult, what possibly would be easier to do, just stuff like that. And I believe most of the professionals in the industry are quite helpful. We all want to avoid pitfalls, and we want to make life easier for the next generation of engineers that come in. And I believe that you will definitely get the help that you seek. So in fact, I would go ahead and say to listeners who are listening in today, if you have any issues, if you want to discuss something, if you want to get some sort of mentorship, feel free to contact any one of us. We are all available.
In the
And
comments. In the comments.
you can we'll probably attach our socials with this podcast. Feel free to connect with us. And if you feel we are not the right people, find your sources and connect with them. I can tell you, as an industry, we are very helpful with each other. No one will give you the wrong guidance in this case.
Yeah, you can reach out to our channel, like, as Ashwini was saying, or also you can reach out directly to our email, groundcontrol2majornerds@gmail.com. You can just directly email us. All three of us have access to that, and we will answer any questions. And we may also, maybe personally reach out to you and help you out with any guidance that you may need or any help that you may need. So,
I believe we have a Instagram handle too, right?
so
Or get in the comments, YouTube comments. We'll read those.
And just one final point, if I can say, because this is something I got as feedback after our first episode, which was female representation and what is it like. I'm sure we'll get into it in detail on a later episode.
full
But I
episode,
can
yeah.
also tell you this, that for women wanting to get into aerospace, please don't think of this as a very gender specific industry and this is only a man's world. Absolutely not. Some of our best engineers, some of our best leaders in this industry are women. And I can personally tell you that there are institutions in our own country that are promoting women. I can talk more seriously about India because that is where I get most information. But there are associations, there are organizations, there are uh, social service organizations that are pushing for more representation of women in the industry, that are bringing to light and bringing to focus women leaders who have been in this industry for years. And one such example is the IWPA, which is the Indian Women's Pilots Association, which it deals with more aviation. But an offshoot of that is Drones for Her, which has been started by a good friend of mine. And she has also helped in making this really good spirited space for women who want to get into engineering, who want to get into the drones part. And she has a lot of industry representation exclusively from women. I believe Drones for Her, look them up. They have a mentorship program. So there is a pathway for sure. It is all about asking.
Yeah. So just touching on that topic, yeah. Since I said aerospace is a very small and niche industry, reaching out, you will get contacts about anything that you want to do in this field, and you will get the proper guidance. You just need to reach out. So
I
all right.
will I will briefly give you an answer for that other question that you asked of how different was how much of your education helped you with your job. I can tell you this, that the, the coursework definitely helps. In my case, everything that I studied is something that I use regularly at work. Uh, because R&D is like that, and you have to have a very strong theoretical base to do any sort of new work on top of that. So it definitely helps. But also at the same time, I will say this: I learned more in my first week at work than I did over the entire 2 years doing my masters, because of the requirements that are just thrust on you from day one. Uh, in my case, I can tell you this, that the drone and the counter drone industry is a very rapid industry. Uh, Technology that you feel is going to come out today is obsolete tomorrow. And there is this continuous race against the latest technology that is available to you. So definitely while you're working, you will learn a lot. It is very important that you keep your eyes and ears open and keep learning. And I would also say that in this case, another thing that I always advise all young engineers, once you come out of college, when you're in college, you have access to a library, you have access to online publications, you have access to professors who are going to teach you and tell you about everything to keep you in touch with the industry. But once you leave your college, once you leave your university and you start working, your only access to anything new is through publications. So please seek membership into organizations, professional organizations. Please seek membership of publications, magazines, online newsletters. For example, I follow a newsletter regularly called 400 Feet, which talks about using drone and counter drone technology that is outside of defense, which is something called drones for good or counter drones for good. So there is an entire industry out there that does non-defense work as well, and it is very important that you keep in touch with new developments in the industry through such publications and magazines. So another important thing is keep learning, and a good way of learning is through these memberships, through these organizations, through these publications.
Okay, cool. All right. So for me, after my academics, I was very fortunate to get an internship with Gulfstream, and uh, it was one of the best experiences I had as an intern, since I was right in the beginning of an aircraft program that was just started off like a couple of years ago. Now, for people who do not know how aerospace industry works, any project that starts in aerospace goes for at least 4 to 5 years or even more to get it completed. So I was right there. Right after a couple of years, I got my internship into the program, which was the advanced aircraft program for the G500, 600 aircraft design. So I was a systems engineering intern, which is what I wanted to do. And which was, I think, one of the longest internships I think anybody did over there, which was for 9 months after graduation. So, yeah, so that was, but it was really fun being an intern, trying to learn how this workplace, like how this industry works. How does system engineering get done basically in such a massive project of designing a new aircraft? So I was very fortunate to do those things. And then I got my full time job in the electronic systems department, which was part of the bigger organization for the avionics systems engineering. And I do remember those times when we used to work for 90 hours a week, literally, some of the weeks before the certifications. And as I said again, it was very fortunate for me to get that job. And we did everything from, as a team, from writing requirements, validating requirements, verifying requirements, going through crazy amount of testing phases, benchtop testing, integrated flight testing, which was the sims that we had, like over a $3 million screen sims. Like just the screen was about approximately 3 mil, I think. And the facilities that Gulfstream built just to certify this aircraft was ginormous, to be honest. Then I also was very fortunate to do flight test, which I think that was one of the coolest things. I never thought I would be getting that opportunity. Like, my bread and butter at Gulfstream was to work with the flight test program, try to get through software baselines, test it on the flight test on regular basis. Every new block point of software that came out, just take it to the flight test and see what they have to say about the software, how many failures they got, go back to the drawing board, maybe rewrite the requirements if we have to, or readjust the test cases if there was something wrong over there that we did not test something correctly, and then bring it back up again to the flight test program so that they could test it in the flight test article. So that taught me enormously on how this industry actually works and how safety critical this industry is and how regulatory uh, how regulated this industry is for the right reasons, because those regulations are important, those requirements are important, and those tests are very, very important to make a new aircraft. So yeah, 5 years of that at Gulfstream, I learned a lot about systems engineering, and most of it, I think, my academic journey actually helped me a lot, especially from my undergrad, to understand what an aircraft is, and and going to the systems engineering of the aircraft. Like, I was well versed with the ARP 4754A from academics, which most of my peers, even though they were having aerospace degrees, but since they were from different countries, like for example, America does not teach you ARP 4754A. But in the UK, I was taught ARP since I was in year 2 of aerospace. So that's a big difference for me that helped me a
What
lot in
is
the industry.
ARP?
So ARP is basically a guidance, or a guidelines which actually enables you to do systems engineering. Like, it gives you a guidelines on how you do validation and verification of a design, specifically aircrafts or automotive. It comes from the Society of Aerospace, or sorry, Society of Automotive Engineers, and they have set up these guidelines, which FAA tells you that it's guidelines, but if you're not following ARP, you better have a very good reason why you're not following ARP. That's how it is. It's not a regulatory, it's not a directive, but it is uh, basically a guidelines or best practices, you may say, for the industry. So, but ARP is definitely something big. If you want to be a systems engineer, you need to be well versed with ARP 4754A, or now it's B, and also ARP 4761, which is the safety. So yeah, so through that experience of getting TC for, which is test, like type certification for G5 600, I think I got well versed with how systems engineering is done in the industry and how critical it is, and how the whole workflow happens from the stakeholders who actually have requirements on what the design should be, till the component level design, which the hardware software engineers do at the board level, doing all that work, how it is managed. It's managed through systems engineers, and that's where I loved my like I even validated my passion for systems engineering, that okay, this is actually cool and I want to do this forever, basically. Overall, though, I think the experiences, the industrial exposure that I have gotten after my academics in the US has made me very confident in the industry and has actually helped me like to get to better roles as well, regardless of not being in space or defense. So just being on the commercial aviation side, I think I have done some really cool work and have been very fortunate to do a lot of cool designs. So yeah, so you don't need to be an aerospace engineer to get into the aerospace industry. Like, the core competence of aerospace engineering is not just doing an aerospace engineering academically. You can be from a mechanical background, or an electrical background, or a computer science background. We need civil engineers in aerospace because of the services that we need for the airports, airport planning. There are human factors that, like, engineers who are needed. There's a vast disciplines of engineering that are required in the aerospace industry. So it's not like, if you want to pursue a career in aerospace, you only have to be an aerospace engineer to begin with. Then you can get into the industry. You can come from any walks of engineering or any walks of sciences to pursue your career in aerospace. There's always a role for you in this industry. It's a very diverse industry. You can be from any background and you can get in and you can pursue your career in here. It's just about the passion. Like, are you passionate about it or not? So yeah.
That said, I know you Ashwini and me have all used really crazy terms that not everyone will know. So you want like further info, you want to know what they are, what we've said, or you want us to clarify something, let us know, get in touch with us. We will either need to correct ourselves or explain to you guys what we meant. So yeah, that's our episode for today.
Hi, guys. That's our episode for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please do reach out to us in all our socials. Please do like, share, subscribe, comment in our YouTube channel and in Instagram. Please turn on the notifications to know when we are trying to release our next episode. And
Hit the bell.
hit the bell, yeah. And also, if you have any direct questions or any questions directly to any one of us, please do reach out to us at groundcontrol majornerds@gmail.com. We will be available. We might even try to provide you with any kind of one-on-one questions that you may need answers for prospective students who are starting their academic journey, or prospective engineers who are already looking for jobs in India or in the US. There could be some ways that we could help you with. So yeah, and also make sure you drop your questions and your comments and your feedbacks, like you did for the episode 1. I think we got some amazing feedbacks, and we are trying to improve each episode on our content, on our structure, and the way we are talking about things. So stay tuned, and hope you guys join us again. All right, thank you guys.
Bye.